Hello and welcome to our final post-mortem for E3 2017. My name's Cheeky Devlin and this is the Nintendo Spotlight post-mortem. Joining me today, we've got a full cast, five of us today. We've got Carl, say hello Carl.
Hey, how's it going?
We've got Andre Kun back again, say hello.
Hello again.
We've got Peds as ever.
Hello.
And, joining us for the first time this year, we have Kix, so say hello Kix.
Yo.
So yeah, we're looking at the Nintendo kind of spotlight video that they did, which was relatively short, 25 to 30 minutes, but there's still quite a lot to talk about, especially when you take into account the Treehouse Live stuff that they've been showing since then. So we're going to dive right on in. And I think the first kind of thing I want to kind of look into, we'll skip the sizzle reel that they put at the start, and go into the first kind of game that they spoke about, which was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which they're still saying is going to be holiday 2017, so out for Christmas it looks. And yeah, just based on what they showed in the spotlight so far, it looks decent enough to me. It seems a little bit more anime styled than Chronicles X did. But certainly for me, it's very much still a JRPG, and I'm not a JRPG kind of guy at this point. I don't really have the time to spend getting into them, so I don't really think it's one that I'm going to be looking at. But what about you guys? What do you think, Raccoon? What's your kind of take on Xenoblade?
Yeah, so the first game, Xenoblade Chronicles, I didn't play until the 3DS version, and I never finished it despite playing probably 40 odd hours of it. Even though it is a really good game, and I am very interested in the second one. Again, I think what will probably hold me off on it is the time sink that it's probably going to require, because if it's anything like the previous games, it's going to have an almost overwhelming amount of side content. But yes, I was impressed in what we've seen. The art style shift is quite obvious. It seems, I don't know, a little more generic maybe, in kind of being anime JRPG like. It sort of reminded me when we first saw it of, I don't know if you've ever played Dark Chronicle on the PS2, but that had
I know the one you mean.
Like very cell shaded anime style with two main characters who was a guy and a girl, and I got a little bit of a vibe from that, which is a good thing. But yeah, it looks quite good.
Yeah, definitely. The only other thing I would add is that from the footage that they showed, I don't think it looks quite as nice as Chronicles X did. Chronicles X I thought looked really quite good, whereas this, maybe it's just the style. It didn't look quite as nice to me, but certainly that's just me. Kicks, we haven't had you on for a while, so what's your take on Xenoblade?
Going on from the style, one thing that I think does look a lot better than X is the character models, because the character models in X were kind of a disaster almost. But the style looks good. I like JRPGs. I've not really played the other ones. Unfortunately, I can't remember who bought it for me. I need to double check, but in Secret Santa someone bought me Chronicles X, but they bought me the European version, which I couldn't play on my Wii U, so I've still not played that either. Xenoblade is cool. I've always liked the characters from Xenoblade. The characters for this one look fun and they look nice, and the music sounds brilliant. It's got, I think the main character is designed by Nomura, who did the Final Fantasy designs, which you can tell by all the belts, which I'm not going to complain about because I don't mind that. So outside of it looks good, and I'm looking forward to playing it. There's not really too much I can add.
Cool. Carl, what about you?
That voice acting, man. that was my kind of main impression of it. Actually, it really wound me up and kind of upset me. But the actual game, the actual game looked fine. I haven't played a Xenoblade game, but I'm kind of interested to give this one a go. I think the Switch is like a good console for JRPGs. Take them with you as you go. It's a bit easier to find the time, to put into them. So from that perspective, I'll probably get it and give it a go. But I'm not like a genre expert, so I can't. I get the impression that what's one of the things which sets Xenoblade apart is like the scale of the worlds that the series kind of creates. I don't know if anyone can kind of fill me in on that, but I didn't necessarily really get a sense of that from this trailer. So if that is a big part of those games, then maybe the trailer could have done more to communicate that.
Yeah, definitely, and I think what they showed on the kind of Treehouse stream afterwards definitely, I think showed more actual gameplay, and you kind of see, you do get kind of a more sense of scale from that. In fact, I think it's probably, if we want to discuss that stuff just now, that's probably best as well. So I mean, from the Treehouse stuff that we've seen so far, I mean, certainly Peds, I mean, you haven't had a chance to say anything about it yet. I mean, what are you thinking?
Starters, Xenoblade Chronicles. I haven't finished the game because I'm awful for finishing games, but it's probably one of the best JRPGs I've ever played. And I need to go back to it. I keep saying I'm going to go back to it, and I never do because something new comes along. But I can't wait for this. This is one of the games that I've been keeping my fingers crossed that will come out this year. I don't know if it's story-wise linked to the first game. If it is, then I'm going to have to finish it first. If it's not, then we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. For me personally, like you were saying, you don't think it looks as good. I think it looked just as good. And the character models and the faces in particular looked a hell of a sight better than in X, because the faces in X just looked gross. They looked like PlayStation 1 textured faces. They were bad. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Chronicles 2. I think it's set on big open spaces like the previous two games, but I think you travel to different locations differently somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but it'd be fun to find out exactly what's happening, and hopefully it is linked to the first game because it'll give me even more of an incentive to go back finishing it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah. I mean, I think it looks decent. I think if you're a fan of the previous ones, or you're a fan of JRPGs in general, it's going to be worth a look. And it does certainly seem that despite all expectations, it's not going to slip to 2018. So that's pretty good for Nintendo. So that they've got another big game coming out this year. After Mario. So that's going to be good for that.
And can I just
of course,
come back in on Carl mentioned the voice acting and not liking it, which I think I've seen a couple of people say, but I for one I think there's not enough British voice acting in video games, and even when they can, great, because I think to British ears especially, they can sound off. I'm actually a really big fan of it. The first game I thought had brilliant voice acting.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will continue, and we didn't hear that much of it, and maybe the main character is going to get a bit annoying, but sometimes I find that a bit of the charm. But yeah,
I agree with Raccoon. The voice acting was one of the best things about the first game, and I hope it continues into this one, because in X I think it's all American accents, whereas in this one it seems to be British again. So sweet.
I'll say I'm glad that I can play it through in Japanese, because I find it so jarring seeing English voices over that kind of style of game. But that's just me. So
is it going to be? Do you think it will be the same as some of the other games on the Switch, where all you need to do is switch to a different account for the region that you want, and it'll play the appropriate voices? Because is that not what Zelda did as well?
That I'm not too sure of, but I'll probably end up, because I usually buy everything digitally on Switch anyway, I'll probably just get it from the Japanese store, so it doesn't really affect me. It's usually set by system region, but I mean, I guess that's one thing that they didn't really say, how system region is going to change the language settings. But the fact it looks like it's going to come out at the same time in Japan and Europe and America makes me think it will have all the languages, and you can just switch between them if you want to.
Yeah, Disgaea has the option to have Japanese voices with English subtitles, and I think that's my preferred way of playing that game, certainly. Probably if I replay Zelda, I think that has the option now, it's been patched in.
Yeah.
So definitely, if it has that option, I'd be probably investigating that.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have those options, but it's not really the kind of thing Nintendo would ever have brought up in their own kind of treehouse thing anyway. It's something that you're going to find out through articles on websites and through other players. So hopefully it will give you the option, because the option's always nice. And then they kind of rolled on to the first of their kind of new announcements, which was a new Kirby game, which looked okay. I liked the fact that it looks like 4-player co-op. which you can play either yourself or you can bring in your friends by the look of it. So yeah, looked quite interesting. And, from that kind of point of view, obviously I'm not the biggest fan of Kirby. I never have been. So in that respect, it's probably not something I'm going to pick up. But certainly, it's always good to see them kind of filling out titles for further down the line, especially like 2018, which is kind of what I was hoping they were going to do this time around. And they surprised me quite nicely by doing that. So, Raccoon, what do you think? Any interest in Kirby?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to dismiss these 2D side-scrollers that Nintendo puts out as the filler games between the bigger Nintendo games, but I think that is somewhat of a disservice because they are always really solidly made 2D platformers, even if they don't do anything particularly new. Like Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U was a great game, but a bit overlooked maybe. I think the Switch will be a better home for these kind of games. I think I prefer playing 2D platformers on the Switch as a handheld, as opposed to playing them on a home console, like on the TV. So yeah, I don't know if I'll pick it up on release, but for the local multiplayer especially, it's definitely something that interests me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're kind of right. I mean, the Switch is a really good kind of platform for kind of 2D games like that, especially because if you don't like playing it on the TV, that's fine. You can just pick it out, take it out of the cradle, and you can play it like a handheld, and it works really well that way. So it's definitely a kind of good fit for it. What about you, Peds? What do you think?
My initial impression was, it looks like typical Kirby, but I think with it being co-op, I could see me and my missus playing it. It'd be something that me and her can play together, like we did with Epic Yarn and a few other games. So for me, my interest is as much as my girlfriend's interest in it will be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It does look like a kind of game where if you can get a couple of people to play it with you, it's going to be better. And especially kind of couch co-op, which Nintendo's always kind of excelled at. So yeah, no, absolutely. What about you, Kix? What did you think?
I've always been a big fan of the Kirby games, and this looks like almost a return to the sort of, I guess, return to Dreamland and whatnot. I had 4-player co-op, but it seems to be there's little things you can do with the 4 players, like you can go into that weird ball mode. Now, they've not confirmed if you can do it 4-player local, but I imagine it will be, or you can pick up the AR partners like you could do in the earlier games in the series. So, I mean, it's Kirby. They're never usually the most groundbreaking titles, but they're still always really good, so I can't complain, and I'll certainly be picking it up when it comes out.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think you're kind of spot on there. I mean, I would never say that they're kind of groundbreaking. They just obviously they'll do an interesting idea. I mean, things like Epic Yarn, for example, was an interesting kind of idea that then obviously kind of went on to be applied to the Yoshi games. So I'm always interested to see what they do, even if I don't ever end up actually picking them up myself. What about you, Carl? Any plans to get that?
Well, perhaps. I mean, I would kind of reiterate what Raccoon said about this. I think that folding this kind of 2D platformer content onto the Switch is is a really great move from Nintendo. I think the Switch is like a natural home for this kind of game, because to be honest, I wouldn't really be interested in a side-scrolling platforming Kirby game on if somehow it came out on PC, or if it was on like a under the TV only home console. I don't think I wouldn't be interested. It wouldn't be the kind of game I would sit down and with the intention of like playing for hours. But like in bed or like on the bus or whatever, this is a kind of game which could be fun to kind of whip out for 20 minutes. So from that perspective, I think the format of the Switch is making me more interested in titles like this than I otherwise would have been.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a very good point, and obviously at the moment it's got a kind of vague 2018 date, but it certainly seemed fairly far on from what they showed. So I'm wondering if that's maybe going to be reasonably early, early summer for that maybe.
One thing I'm hoping is the games that they've announced for 2018 are going to come out before E3 next year, so then they can next year with E3 they'll have stuff for the rest of the year and the first quarter of 2019. Now, that's what I'm hoping
Yeah.
for, but I doubt that will happen. But
I mean, I will say that I've just learned something that I didn't really want to know, in the fact that Carl likes whipping it out quickly in bed. If you mishear that like I did. Yeah, and on the bus.
I've been exposed.
Sounds
So
like
that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, I did.
Whipping out your Kirby, you dirty bastard. Kirby looking alright. And then after that, they kind of rolled on to their short Pokemon segment where they gave us a little bit more on Pokken Tournament, where they said that obviously there's going to be some new fighters, and so on that. And then obviously we were told like Game Freak are working on like a core Pokemon title for Switch, which they're not saying when it'll be out, so it's probably earliest. I think it's going to be late next year, but probably 2019. But I think that's what everybody was wanting from them in the first place. Like a full proper Pokemon RPG on that. So I'm definitely very excited for that. What about you guys, Carl?
Yeah, I think there'll be a forum post from ages ago where I was kind of saying, yeah, I could see Pokemon being kind of a boon for Switch around Christmas 2018. And I could still see that being what they're aiming for here. It seems like a kind of natural time to release it. We had the big launch hitter with Zelda. Mario's going to be their big Christmas game this year, and next year is going to need a new big Christmas game. And I could see Pokemon filling that niche really nicely. So hopefully that's what they're going for in the kind of plan of like pacing the game. And yeah, I mean the Switch, it was always going to get a mainline Pokemon game. I mean that was never really in doubt. But it's good to have it confirmed. Hopefully we'll get more details probably next year. And yeah, hopefully it's going to be really good. But there's not much else I think to say about it really.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, I mean, we have no details for it at all. But I think, yeah, definitely getting something like that out there, letting us know, listen, it is coming. That's going to be massive for them. Peds, what about you? Any more thoughts to add to that?
Not really. I'm looking forward to having another Pokemon game. A Pokemon game come to Switch. But the only thing I'm thinking is did they announce it now at D3 because people were disappointed there wasn't an announcement for a Switch game in the Direct the other week for Pokemon? So are they doing are they announcing it too soon then? When there's no there's not even a little trailer for it, not even like a CGI Pokemon Switch. Is it a reaction to maybe people being disappointed? But other than that, there's nothing else to say other than, yay, Pokemon's coming to Switch.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I can't think of anything further that really needs to be said on it at the moment, unless Kix or Rook, you guys have got anything you want to throw in that.
I mean, I would say in relation to Peds' point there, I think more than they were looking out because people were somewhat disappointed like Ultra Sun and Moon weren't going to be on Switch, despite not seemingly realizing it's not easy to make a game engine. I think it's more they're using this as an opportunity to go, well, the Switch already looks pretty good, and even though it's not coming out soon, because I mean, more recently in the previous years, like Nintendo have been, we're not going to show anything off until it's really close. Yeah. So I do think it's possibly going to be a late 2018 game, possibly. But it's more the fact that they've shown it, so now people know it's coming, and now they can be like, a Pokemon game. I want a new Pokemon game. I'll look to get a Switch now in preparation. And it's that sort of series that has that selling power that I think people are going to look now and say, wow, I actually really seriously need to consider getting a Switch if I wasn't before. And it sort of adds on to their ability to sell their games coming out at the end of 2017 as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's definitely it. And I think it's something that I kind of alluded to and then the pre-show with Carl and Jasmine, which was that for me that this E3 was very much about, it was about showing this is what we've got coming, for this year, but at the same time they need to have something that they can say, right, and we've got this coming in 2018, and they, to be fair to them, they turned around and they did that. They turned around, we've got Kirby coming, we've got and obviously we'll go into this more later, we've got Pokemon coming, so So they've done what they needed to do from my point of view, which is give people who are going to be buying it, in the run up to Christmas, some incentive for what they've got coming down the line, in addition to Zelda and Mario Kart and ARMS and Splatoon and Mario, which for a first year is an amazing lineup from a platform holder. It's crazy to think that that's what they've managed to get out. So certainly to then turn around and go, yeah, we've got Pokemon coming, is certainly it's an additional carrot for people to then go and buy it. And like Carl said, hopefully it is going to be out for kind of Christmas next year, because by that point I think Nintendo will have sorted out their supply, the supply issues that they've had, whether they're genuine issues or manufactured issues. Who knows? But by that point, the supply shouldn't really be as much of an issue, and they'll be able to push it out to the kind of volume of people that will buy Pokemon, rather than put it out early when there's not enough people and not enough consoles to satisfy the demand. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's going to be quite a leap forward, for the series in terms of graphics and kind of how it works, because I mean it's still very much based on that old kind of grid kind of format. Alright, there's kind of free movement, but it is it still looks like an old handheld title to an extent. So I'd like to see them make it far more open and see what they can do with it on far more powerful hardware, which yeah, so that kind of brings us towards what for me was, as I'm sure you all know, was the announcement of the whole thing. It was the megaton that I was waiting for. It was the megaton I daren't had hoped we would have got, and that's Metroid Prime 4 is in development and it's coming to Switch. Happy fucking day. Raccoon, on you go.
Yeah, big announcement. I think it's something everyone was hoping for. I don't think many people were really expecting. It's kind of the thing where everyone's like, are they going to announce Metroid Prime? Probably not. I mean, we all want it to happen, but we don't really expect Nintendo to do it. But they have done. Unfortunately, they didn't really do anything other than announce it. I mean, we just got the logo, and it could be a long way off. I mean, I imagine it's going to be a couple of years off. So we're going to have to wait for actual information. The only thing I did notice is that it's not being made by Retro, which surprised me somewhat, because I mean, we all don't know what Retro have been doing for the last few years, and if anything, if anyone was making a new Metroid Prime, I thought it would have been them. So the fact that it's another team makes it slightly different, and wondering if it's going to introduce anything different to the series and not just be another Prime game in a way. I expect it will have some kind of I'm not sure how to go as far as gimmick, but it's going to have some kind of difference that's going to set it apart from the other Metroids. But it's all that's all speculation at the moment. So one to keep an eye on.
Definitely. It's I think they said it's one of the teams in Kyoto that are going to be working on it. So that again, raises the question of what Retro are doing. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm really really happy about this. Any of you guys wanting to chip in anything on Metroid?
Fucking yes. Finally another Metroid, and not just a Metroid. I'm jumping ahead. Two fucking Metroids. 2 Metroids come in. Fucking yes.
I would just like to quickly say that this announcement brings out the one reason why I think the internet can be a really stupid place, in the fact that if Nintendo didn't say anything about Metroid, then people are like, oh, Metroid's dead, why the fuck aren't Nintendo saying anything about Metroid? But then they go, you know what, there is a Metroid coming, it's coming to Switch, and it'll be out at some point, right? I can imagine it's going to be next year, because they don't like showing off stuff too early now.
Yeah.
So it's possibly going to be a 2018 game, nothing's confirmed, but now you have the same people who would complain if they didn't say anything, complaining because they've said something, which I just think is really dumb. I'm just very happy there's going to be a new 3D Metroid game.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I kind of get that. Yeah, I mean, I was, and again, I said this before the show. All I wanted for the things going forward was that I didn't need to see footage. I didn't need a date. I didn't need anything. All I needed was this is coming, and then that is exactly what I got with Metroid.
And then so are you.
Yes, and then so was I. That's just disgusting, Stay Dead. Jesus Christ. um, but yeah, so I mean, so I was extremely happy. I think I agree with you, Stay Dead, in that I don't think it's going to be too far away. I think it is probably going to be late 2018, early 2019, maybe. Just depending on how far along they are, because like you said, they tend not to show things too far in advance. Yeah, unless it's Zelda, because that's the mistake they make. They show it too far in advance, and then people are waiting years for it, and before they know it, they're launching it on their next system. So, yeah, it's probably a good idea that they only do it maybe a year and a half, 2 years at most out. So hopefully, this time next year we'll be talking about how Metroid Prime 4 looks awesome and it's going to be out soon. But we'll see. And then, yeah, moving on to another kind of new unannounced game, which was a new Yoshi game coming next year. It looks to be carrying on the kind of theme of, arts and crafts. This time it looked very cardboardy. So yeah, it's kind of good if you like those kind of games. I think it falls into the same kind of category, I think, as Kirby, where if you like those games, brilliant. If you're not, then it's probably not going to change your mind.
See that the thing I was going to say is like on GRK, people saying, we're getting too much of Kirby, we're getting too much of Yoshi. We aren't. We've had a couple of games, but there's been massive years, gaps, and not just there. Yoshi's Woolly World, in my opinion, is the best Yoshi game since Super Mario World 2. It is fucking brilliant, and, it is easy, but it's not too easy, especially when you want to get all the collectibles. So I think continuing on the series with the more cowboy look, but still the Yoshis look like yarn again, is a good thing. If the quality is as good as the previous game, then I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm gonna be buying that day one.
I think the fact is, it's not maybe so much that there's too many of these games, it's just that they don't interest some people. I mean, I'm not particularly interested in Kirby or Yoshi, so whenever they announce a new one, I mean, a little part of me does kind of go, oh great, another one. So, I mean, it's not that I think they're bad games, it's just that, I'm not personally interested in them as much, and I think there's an element of that to it. Certain, different people want to see different things. And, to be honest, it would be nice to see a new IP instead of maybe a new Kirby game or a new Yoshi game, but it does seem like every other E3 they're announcing, one or the other. So I can understand it. I mean, we're not saying they're bad games, but, it would be nice to see something new from them. It's the same reason I get upset every time, they announce a new Fire Emblem game instead of a new Advance Wars game. It's, I'm like, can we get something different? Because I don't like Fire Emblem. It's, it's that simple. But, yeah, kind of moving back to the actual game itself. I mean, Carl, what about you? Any interest in Yoshi?
I mean, yeah, I like you hinted at, I think my attitude to it is exactly the same as Kirby. I wouldn't be interested in this game if it were on PC or like a kind of classical style home console. But on the Switch, I could see myself picking it up to play, maybe half an hour at a time. I think my interest in it comes from it being a good fit for the system format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Raccoon.
Yeah, I think I'd just echo what Carl said, really. Same as Kirby, I'm more interested in it because it's on the Switch and being able to play it portably. More than Kirby, I found this slightly more interesting in that I liked the kind of look of the gimmick of the flipping the screen backwards and forwards. Hopefully that could lead to some fun platforming / puzzling sections. So yeah, quite positive, I guess.
Yeah, no, to be fair, it will be good to kind of see more of it. And Stay Dead Kicks, finally. What do you think?
To me, like Kirby, I love cute little 2D platformers, and it looks like, I mean, like Pez, I loved Woolly World. I really did enjoy exploring every little bit of that game, and this looks like a continuation of that. And it looks like it's building on what was already there, and it's building on it in a good way. So I have no complaints.
Fair enough. And you're kind of sticking with the theme of games that nobody wanted. Fire Emblem Warriors.
A game I want, yeah.
Which is a game that Raccoon wants.
And I want.
And Stay Dead wants, yes. We know that there are people who actually want it. I was being facetious.
You're a degenerate, Devlin.
Shut up. So yeah, it's a Warriors game, which certainly I had good fun with Hyrule Warriors. I'm certainly a little bit less interested in this because it is Fire Emblem, and I've got no attachment to these characters or these heroes at all. So for me, it's may as well be another Dynasty Warriors game. But yeah, I mean, what I've seen on the treehouse, it looked okay. It looked like more of this kind of game. With some additional, I think you can move your troops around. You move your heroes around, independent of yourself. That seemed quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, I guess for this one, for me, it's very much a case of wait and see what the kind of reviews for it are, because for me, I think a lot of the appeal of Hyrule Warriors was that it was in that universe. It was Link, it was Zelda, it was you had Gorons and Ganon and all that stuff that kind of tied it together, and it was really enjoyable as a result. Whereas, like I said, I've got far less attachment to Fire Emblem to kind of draw me in there. Raccoon, you said you were going to get it, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, so I probably will get it. I'm a quite a big fan of the Dynasty Warriors games, and I really liked Hyrule Warriors. Again, I'm a bigger Zelda fan than I am a Fire Emblem fan. So it interested me more than Fire Emblem does. What's kind of interesting is that the Switch seems to be becoming a bit of a home for these Warriors/Muso games, because not only is there Fire Emblem, but I think already this year we're getting the Berserk game, which is already out on other consoles, which is a Warriors crossover. There's also the
Fate one.
the Dragon Quest Heroes 2, I think, is coming out on the Switch, which is another Warriors crossover with Dragon Quest, obviously. And then there's Fate Extella, as just said, which so it's kind of, I don't know if fatigue will have set in for me, because I kind of want to pick up some of those as well, especially Dragon Quest Heroes, because I really enjoy these games playing them portably. I've played an awful lot of Dynasty Warriors on the Vita, and then I played a lot more of Hyrule Warriors on 3DS than I did on the Wii U, even though I had it on both consoles. So the portable combination with the Muso series, Warrior series, is one that I really enjoy. But yeah, it may be that by the time this game comes out, I'll have already had my fill.
Maybe, but no, very good points there. Kix, what are you thinking?
Well, I love Fire Emblem. I've played not the majority, but I played nearly half of them, because obviously I've played a few of them through in Japanese and everything. I've been really enjoying Echoes recently, after completely hating myself playing Gaiden because of how hard it was. And I mean, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Dynasty Warriors and like that style of game, but I do like them, and I know they have a lot of replayability and everything, so I'm interested. Like I think it looks good, and I'll certainly be picking it up.
Cool. And Carl, what about you?
The Fire Emblem series is fine. I've played a few of them, but I'm not that interested in Fire Emblem Warriors because I guess I'm not a huge series fan, and I mean, yeah, if I were going to get a Warriors game, I guess I would be more interested in Hyrule Warriors than I would be in Fire Emblem Warriors. So there you are. I guess that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And finally, just Peds, Fire Emblem Warriors, what are your thoughts?
I can't really add much because all bases have been covered. I'd say it's a game I'm going to keep my eye on, see for reviews and things. The thing is I did enjoy Hyrule Warriors, but I feel like the gameplay is pretty much the same thing, and just having a reskin to Fire Emblem characters isn't really enough to sway me into purchasing it. So unless there's something drastically different, which there isn't going to be, in my opinion, I can't see me purchasing it. I had enough fun with Hyrule Warriors. I don't really need another Warriors game.
I think when it comes to the kind of Warriors games, I think you know what you're getting. They're not massively different from each other. So I mean, it all kind of boils down, I think, to how much you enjoy those style of games and how much you enjoy the kind of, the skin that they're putting over it. In this case, Fire Emblem. So yeah, definitely one to watch, I think, if you're interested in those kind of things, or if you're a big Fire Emblem fan. And then they moved on to something that I was quite interested to see, which was a quick look at all the Zelda DLC that we've got coming. So the first one obviously is expansion 1, which is Trial of the Sword, which is going to be out at the end of this month. And it brings with it, the kind of the kind of challenge rooms, new masks, armors, master mode, and yeah, I thought looks pretty solid. So I'm looking forward to that. What about you, Rukun?
Yeah, so I mean, they didn't really need to show this for me because it's a guaranteed purchase, whatever. I mean, Zelda is one of the best games ever made, and it's absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait to play the DLC. But it is looking good. The first DLC pack, it was good to see more of that, to know that there is actually a decent amount of content to it. Because I wasn't sure if there was going to be that much compared to the second pack, which they, when they first announced, made it sound like would be where the main thrust of the content lay. We still remain to be seen what's really in the second pack. They didn't really show much of that, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking up the first DLC pack on release, I think, after seeing the brief what they showed of the content. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think I kind of had this discussion with Carl earlier on actually, but it was like, I don't think they were ever really going to show too much of the second one. It was always going to be, for me, I think, a bit of a tease, because obviously they're wanting to focus on the one that's about to come out, and then the second one will be further down the line. But yeah, definitely, it's a must buy from me as well. And again, as I was saying to Carl earlier on, I'm waiting for the second one to start a full a full second playthrough of the game, so I'm looking forward to that later on in the year. Well, let's go to Carl, actually. I mean, what are your thoughts on it now you've had some time to digest what you've seen, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned in the live show that I was hyped for the DLC, and definitely, I remain hyped. The content is kind of what I expected it to be. We knew challenge rooms were coming, we knew a hard mode was coming. It was cool to see it in action, kind of briefly. But really what I'm looking forward to is them kind of rounding off the experience, adding some fresh zones, a little bit of extra post-game story, which we don't know that much about yet. It's cool to have had it teased. And once that's all in place, I mean, much like you, I'm going to play through the whole game again, from the start.
Yeah.
Do like a hard mode DLC run. Maybe we try and 100% it this time. I'm actually have the Nintendo Spotlight kind of open while we were talking about it. I've just paused on them showing a map of Hyrule, and I'm pretty sure I missed a stable that they have labeled. So I'm annoyed about that. So next time I play it through, I'm going to go straight there and see what's on that stable.
I'm going to get that goddamn stable.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the kind of game it is, you want to go back to it, you want to be a completionist, you want to see everything it has to offer. I made a deliberate choice to cut myself off at about 100 hours and go, okay, I'm not going to burn out on it, let's wait for some DLC, play through it again at Christmas, and yeah, I mean, I think that was the right choice.
Definitely, I think it seems like the right one to me. And Kix, what about you?
Well, I like Breath of the Wild. It's not my favourite Zelda game, mainly because I feel like where they're going for more open world, it's lost its focus. But the good thing for me is the DLC looks, especially with the sort of challenge rooms and whatnot, it makes it seem like the DLC is going to add a lot more focus to that part of the game. And I think that's going to keep me interested a little bit more. Because as much as I like the open world nature of Breath of the Wild, I find myself just doodling about, not really doing anything, which I have a problem with all open worlds for that. So, I mean, I can't fault it because it means it's a good world and there's lots of stuff to do, but I find it hard to concentrate on. So, the DLC being a little bit more focused to me is quite nice.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting to see exactly what especially the second set of DLC ends up being. And then after that they did a little bit where they talked about the various tournaments they've got running on at the moment. So Splatoon 2, Pokken, and then ARMS, all going to be taking place over the next couple of days. So if you're interested in them, keep an eye on Nintendo's stream. And then they had a very, very brief look again at Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which still looks fantastic. That was a big surprise for me when they showed that at Ubisoft. Last night, how good it looked. So Kix, what was your thoughts on Mario and Rabbids?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it announced at Ubisoft as well, and I must admit, when it was leaked a while ago as a thing that was happening, I thought either A, this is going to be really bad because it's Ubisoft, and B, how are they ever going to make this work? And then when I found out yesterday that it's basically, and today as well, I guess, that it's basically XCOM with Mario and Rabbids, I was like, okay, well, this is the best thing I've seen in ages.
Yeah.
Hook it into my veins right now. It looks so good.
I think I'd said something about that to Carl earlier on, where it's like Nintendo, they show you stuff that you don't know you want until you see it, and then you're like, yes, I want that.
Exactly.
Whereas, I was much the same. I was like, oh, they're doing a Mario Rabbids game, and I was like, really? Oh, that's gonna be shit. What is it? And then they came out and they showed it at the Ubisoft, and I was just like, that's XCOM. That looks really good. And then, yeah, now I'm day one buying it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Carl, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea that this game was going to be like a day one purchase for me. I would have been very surprised if time traveling future Carl came back and said that. But it will be. Yeah, I'll be getting it straight away.
Too right. And Peds, what about you?
There's nothing really much I can say that I haven't already said in the Ubisoft conference, Post-Mortems, so I'll just say that I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's as good as it looks.
Yeah, definitely. And Raccoon, you the same as Peds?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this after Ubisoft, and I was very positive about it then. And if anything, I've just become more positive. I've actually already pre-ordered this game, so I think it's the game.
Didn't realise it was available to pre-order. I think I'm going to get on that myself.
Yeah, it's up on the Ubisoft store. It's probably the game I've been left most excited for out of the total of E3 from what's been shown. So yeah, I'm very positive about it.
Most excited? I'm quite impressed by that. Okay, very good. But yeah, it does. It looks fantastic, and definitely looking forward to that. And then they kind of, I don't want to say ended, but the last thing they showed before they went full on into Mario was the news obviously that Rocket League is coming to Switch, where is and I think I said this to Carl again as well. As soon as they announced the Switch, and I first played the Switch, the one game in my mind that I was like, this has to come to this, was Rocket League. So I am definitely triple dipping on that. Peds, I know you're a big Rocket League fan. What about you? Are you going to be picking up that?
I've got it on the PS4 and I've got it on the PC. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it on Switch. It depends on, like, you have Mario Kart Mondays. If there's a Rocket League Wednesdays or Rocket League Thursdays, then I'll buy it straight away. Because Rocket League is, while it's an enjoyable game on your own, with people that you have a laugh and a chat with, the game is so much better. So it really depends on if we can get a group together. That's what it will. So it'll depend on that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing about it. You wouldn't even need to wait for other people to buy the Switch version because it's cross-platform. So
that's true.
We could just get a group of I'm on Switch, you're on PlayStation 4, somebody else is on PC, somebody else is on Xbox One, and have a big happy Rocket League party, and I think it's fantastic. I especially like the fact that like most multiplayer Switch games, it's got local multiplayer wireless. So if you've got 2 or 3 people with Switches together, it's like, okay, let's play some multiplayer Rocket League, and that's it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Kix, what about you? I don't think, have you ever played Rocket League with us before?
I have, when it first came out. I just like to correct you on one of your comments. Unfortunately, much like Minecraft, the PS4 version of Rocket League won't have crossplay with the other versions. For PS4 people, well done, you corrected us. I will say that I do like Rocket League. I mainly play it with my friends every now and then. Like, I'm not a massive fan of it. I do really enjoy it. I probably won't pick it up on Switch because I've already got it on PC. Although it depends, because if my friend gets it, who I work with, and he buys it because he loves Rocket League and he gets a Switch in the long term, then I'll probably buy it to play with him. But I mean, it's Rocket League.
I guess for work, like lunchtime breaks, because you said he's a work friend, you got something then you can play together.
Yeah,
and Rocket League's perfect pick up and play game, a quick blast, and then crack on with get back to work.
I will say, one thing I will say is I guess my purchase will hinge on what the exclusive content is. Like, obviously they've shown off a Mario and Luigi hat for the cars, but they said there's going to be some exclusive cars as well.
I reckon one of
So-
them is going to be a Mario Kart car.
Okay, well, maybe I will buy it. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
No, I think it's Rocket League, so I'm not going to say it looks really good because it's Rocket League. Of course, it looks good. What about Raccoon? What about you?
Yeah, so Rocket League, it's a fantastic game. I've got it on PS4, and yeah, I've played an awful lot of it. And as you said, the Switch, just as soon as it was announced, it seemed like the perfect fit for this game. I mean, even the colours of the Joy-Cons and the neon Switch seem perfect
Yeah.
for Rocket League, the blue and orange.
Yeah.
The question is whether, I already own it, would I want to buy it again? And if I look at Mario Kart on the Switch, I already had that on Wii U, and I bought it again on the Switch because the added experience of having it portable was really what sold me on it. And I've really enjoyed being able to play Mario Kart, like a few races in bed. And I imagine I'll very much enjoy doing the same thing with Rocket League. It will be really good to be able to lie in bed before I go to sleep and just have a few games of Rocket League. So yeah, I think that's what's going to sell me on the game, and that's why I'll be buying it.
Yeah, I think as soon as it popped up in the sizzle reel at the start, I was like, okay, well that's getting bought. For me, because I love Rocket League, and like I said, the ability to as Carl would whip it out in the bus, and play it there would is fantastic. So yeah, definitely interested in that. And well, kind of finally to you, Carbon, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't played Rocket League, but obviously seen it played. It's been all over like Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, I've always thought it looked like a lot of fun. It seems to me like a really good fit for the format. Again, the Switch, there seems to be a recurring theme that the Switch seems to like open people up to like games that maybe they've already come out, or maybe games in a similar genre have come out. You haven't really considered them, they're not your kind of game, but when they come to the Switch, you're like, oh, that could work well on like a kind of powerful handheld, or that I could play a bit of that before bed. And I think it's a really good fit for the format. Also, I know this is very G-Arcade centric, but we're lucky to have a really active kind of community of like multiplayer inclined people who are Nintendo console owners on G-Arcade.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of Rocket League community, if it kind of springs up around the release of Rocket League on Switch, would be great fun to participate with. So I could definitely see myself getting this and really enjoying it, even though I've had the opportunity to get it before and perhaps haven't.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think we need to. It'd be good to see a kind of resurgence on the, of people playing it multiplayer, so we can get, big, groups of us playing, which would be kind of good. But yeah, so Rocket League, it's more Rocket League, and this time it's portable, so top stuff. And that kind of brought us on to obviously the kind of main focus for Nintendo this E3, which is Mario Odyssey, which is out on the 27th of October, which I understand is also the same day as Assassin's Creed Origins and Wolfenstein, so that's going to be an expensive day for me. I thought it looks absolutely amazing. It's fantastic, and I cannot wait for that. I love the taking control of enemies with the cap. I love the varied types of worlds. It's absolutely fantastic. Raccoon, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I have no doubt that this is going to be an absolutely fantastic game. 3D Marios always are, I think. And yeah, if the only thing I thought we were going to see more of it, really, had they joined the stream, but I guess they're leaving that to the treehouse and then impressions from the show floor, where I believe it's going to be the big focus. So maybe I'll get to read more about it and see more of it across the next few days. But yeah. Not that they really need to show me too much because I'm going to buy it. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, I think definitely they have. They showed obviously their kind of the trailer and the mad wee kind of swing band song that they had playing, which was I think is going to be love or hate for that. I quite like it, but I think that most of it's going to be shown on the treehouse, and they have already in fact shown quite a bit of it there. I think so. I'm really excited for this. Kix, what about you?
I mean, it looks like it could be the best Mario platformer they've ever made 3D-wise, so I guess we're not going too much into the Treehouse stuff because they're even showing it off as we're recording it now. I'm
Yep.
currently watching it on my other screen. It just looks incredible. Like, the graphical style is absolutely beautiful. Mario has a lot of new moves. The fact that you possess stuff with his hat leaves you for a lot more different things you can try. And I can see myself just throwing my hat at absolutely everything in the game. Like, I would just like to point out that Mario literally just threw his hat at a tree in this level, and he's now walking around as a tree. So, and there's also the bit in the trailer as well where you take control of a taxi cab. So
Yeah,
it's time to make some crazy money with that, because they'll be making money from me. I'm going to be buying that day one.
One thing I did laugh at with the trailer when they showed it was when they showed the frog. I was laughing like, "Oh, look at the frog with a mustache!" And then another thing was, "Look, he's taking over a proper human with his hat, and he's got a weird mustache."
Yeah, that was really good.
It's got that complete Nintendo charm that that it has, especially with Mario games. They've got such a charm to them, that, I mean, if other games had done it, oh yeah, you've got a hat and you can possess things, you'd be like, all right, okay, that's a bit strange, but okay. But when Mario does it and the way Nintendo do it, they've just nailed it spot on with how it needs to look and feel. So yeah, I mean, looks fantastic. Carl, what about you?
Well, it's going to be a bloody brilliant Christmas game, isn't it? It's going to be full of, dare I say it, charming moments. It's going to be funny throughout. You can tell that just from what we've seen from it.
Yeah.
You can tell they've put so much kind of love into creating these mechanics and this world and these like funny scenarios that you're going to be able to get Mario in. I think it does tie in to. From what I can work out, Nintendo's kind of strategy with developing these kind of big entries in their kind of main franchises, because you saw them take Zelda kind of back to its roots, but also twist a lot of the format and kind of innovate quite strongly, right?
Yeah.
Like, kind of almost having the dungeons vomit out onto the overworld with the mini bosses and the shrines dotted about. And I think that's kind of... I think there's an argument to be made that they've done something similar here, where they've taken Mario kind of back to Mario 64, but also, twisted all of the worlds, into... You have your kind of real-lifey worlds, you have your kind of dinosaur-y worlds. These are places we haven't seen that much of, certainly in the kind of Mario Sunshine, Mario 64 kind of games. But... It's still clearly a sequel to 64 and Sunshine. So I think that kind of element and that kind of part of their strategy is really interesting. It makes me wonder whether we'll see something similar with Metroid Prime 4. Who knows what to expect from that? We won't know till we see it.
Yeah.
I will say that it's an interesting take I saw on Twitter earlier where someone said in Zelda Breath of the Wild you can go anywhere, and in Mario Odyssey, it seems you can do anything. Like, anything you can see, you can interact with and platform around, and you can throw your hat at loads of different things. And one thing that is nice for me as a long-term Mario fan is they've shown that Mario can get different costumes and whatnot. And some of the costumes they've shown are really not so much bizarre, well, they are kind of bizarre references to games that people may never have even played. Like, one of the costumes they showed off in the trailer was his golfing outfit from Mario Open Tour Golf on the NES, and another one was his safari outfit from the Mario Picross game on the Game Boy. So it shows they've still got all that like nostalgic love of Mario in there, and it's a really silly addition that I love. But one of my weird enemy types that I really love is when the Goomba's stuck up in a totem pole, and I mean in the trailer it showed you could take over a Goomba and do that yourself, so that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, that bit looks really good, and I love that whole mechanic of taking over things, and then and the various costumes all look really good as well. So it's going to be fantastic. Carl, not Carl, sorry, Raccoon. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you already asked me, but
Did I? Oh,
yeah,
sorry. Did I miss
it's
anything?
fine. The one thing I would
You
add
didn't
is
ask
that
me. Oh, you forget about me all the time.
We'll come back to you in a minute, Chris.
Yeah, I'll just say the one thing I'd add is it's funny to bring up the new mechanics and also comparing it to Zelda, because there was that one point where we saw Mario flattened against the wall, and it looked
Yeah.
like they lifted that wholesale from a Link Between Worlds, which was really interesting to see.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. Yeah, no, I did like those sections. I thought they looked quite clever,
Yeah.
with how they did it. But yeah, so Peds, finally, how do you think it's going?
To be honest, I can't. You've all said so much about it. There's nothing left for me to say. Honestly, there isn't. I'm just watching the Treehouse stuff now, and it just looks breathtaking. It's Mario, like, reimagined, so to speak. It's wonderful.
There is one more thing I'd like to quickly add in the fact that I love the way they've explained Mario's hat being the way it is it's actually a boo. Like, they showed that off in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to point out that while I'm probably never actually going to be able to get my hands on them, the new amiibo for this game look absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's the kind of wedding suit Mario and wedding dress Peach, and then wedding suit Bowser looks. Yeah,
Yeah.
they look
Awesome.
really good. Yeah.
Damn it. Goddamn amiibo. It's the same with Zelda. It's like, look at these new amiibo. It's like, stop releasing amiibo. You don't make enough for everyone to get one. Stop being mean. You're teasing us all.
The other thing I'd like to quickly point out as well is obviously they've shown off the new collectible rather than being stars this time of moons, which look like a sort of evolution of the Shine formula. But the way they're dotted around the level reminds me a lot of Banjo-Kazooie, and the fact that it seems there are many ways to get them. Oh, maybe this isn't a fair comparison, but like, I guess it's more like Mario 64, but the way you can use certain possessions to get certain moons easier is really cool to me, because it looks like there's going to be multiple ways to get up to different things, and I guess that is where it's sort of going with the Mario 64 style. And I'd also just like to quickly point out the treehouse thing just now. It looks like, it looks like that's one of the sphinxes from Mario Land. There's like a map feature, which looks really cool. So, yeah, fantastic game.
Yeah, no, it's looking fantastic, and I can't wait to see more and actually get a chance to play it in October. So that's going to be great. And I think that kind of only really leaves us one more thing to kind of talk about, which is Metroid Return of Samus, which was another surprise announcement made on the Treehouse Live. It wasn't part of the spotlight, and it's a good thing I was paying attention to it, because I was nearly about to turn the Treehouse off while I went and did some stuff, and then Reggie turned up and, "Oh, I've got one more announcement." I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And then out it came in all its glory, a remake of Metroid 2: Return of Samus. So, 2 Metroid games, I am beyond happy at the moment. Carl, what was your kind of take on Metroid 2, Samus Returns? Have you had a chance to see any of it yet?
Yes, I've seen a bit of it. I haven't been watching the Treehouse, but the trailer went up on YouTube pretty quickly. It got posted on the forums, so I had a little look at that. I think it's interesting to think that people have been waiting for this Metroid 2 remake since 2004, That was when Zero Mission came out on the GBA. And, I was gonna say it was always coming, but I guess people must have started to doubt it for, like, the last few years. It's, once it hit a decade without it, I guess people must have started to doubt themselves. I think it was a natural choice. I think it's going to be good. So I look forward to it, and but yeah, I think it's very interesting that it's taken them all this time since Zero Mission to go, okay, fine, let's do the Metroid 2 remake.
Yeah, I'm as everybody knows, I am a huge Metroid fan. So, Metroid 2 has always been the kind of almost the black sheep of the series, at least until Other M came out. Because it was one I don't think a lot of people didn't play it. It's it's a little bit different from the other games, and
it's kind of like the Zelda 2,
yeah,
and Fire Emblem 2, and
So yeah, I mean, it's good to see them finally kind of going back to it and giving it some recognition and going, you know what, we're going to remake this, we're going to give it some new mechanics, do some different things with it, and what they showed on the Treehouse looks really really good, and I like some of the new stuff they've added to it. That I think for me the biggest inclusion in the game that's going to make it much better is the fact that there's a map now. It's a simple addition, but that game it really suffered because it's so easy to get lost in it simply because everything looks the same, and it's it's a lot. It's very easy to lose track of where you are. But so Ped, and what you think?
No, I was going to say, I remember you saying before. I'm not sure if it was on a podcast or just in general chat. You were saying even when you were doing your own map, things wouldn't line up right, so your map would be confusing anyway.
Yeah, the actual game world in Metroid 2 didn't make physical sense. So you would go through one door and you'd go, okay, there's a tall vertical shaft here, that's great. And then you'd go maybe back through the door, up one screen, and then through another door. But you'd be somewhere different, you wouldn't be in the vertical shaft. So, I mean, things didn't quite align like that in one or two places, so it made things a bit trickier. But I'm so stoked for this. I will be getting the special edition, which comes with the soundtrack CD, and I'm very very tempted to get the amiibos for it as well. Even though I don't have a new 3DS, so I can't even use them with my 3DS, but I'm tempted to get them anyway because they look fantastic.
One thing I'll say about it is it does have like more of a cinema. From what the trailer I saw, it's like the stuff you could do with like grappling the Metroids and throwing them and shooting them kind of has a more cinematic feel to certain parts. I wonder if that will be a negative or a positive for the game overall. I can only speculate because it kind of like, you didn't get that back in the day, so will it hinder the game in any way, do you think?
I don't think it will. No, I mean, my main concern with the game is going to be how people are going to react to the kind of more linear structure of it. Because by its very design, it's a far more linear game than most of the other Metroids, because you can only move onto the next area once you've cleared out a certain number of Metroids in the area you're currently in. So it does mean there is a very logical progression of you do this area, then you move to this area, and then the next area. You don't really backtrack to areas too often in it, so that's going to take some getting used to for some people, I think. But so I mean, Raccoon, what about you? Have you got any thoughts on Metroid?
Yeah, so you'll probably be very disappointed to hear that I've only played one 2D Metroid, and that was Metroid 2, and I never really played that much of it. The main problem I have, so I'm not a massive fan. Obviously, you can probably guess from that. Not only because I haven't played them, not because I dislike them, but it's on the 3DS. Can I really get that excited for a 3DS game when I've got a Switch now? Not really. I'm struggling to be that interested in it. If it was on the Switch, I probably would be more interested. Excited. Well, yeah, but maybe I should go back and play some of the others. Before I can get excited for this.
Start
maybe
with Super, and trust me, you won't need to play another 2D Metroid.
All right, maybe I'll do that.
Kix, what about you? You got any thoughts on Metroid?
Well, I guess in contradiction to Orange Raccoon, I am actually quite excited that it's a 3DS game because Nintendo have never they've outright said before that the Switch isn't replacing the 3DS, at least for the time being. I mean, they are still coming out with some good games for the 3DS, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, currently I'm playing through Fire Emblem Echoes, and I mean, the game looks incredible. Like, they showed off a lot of gameplay on the Treehouse, and the fact they've added like a melee counter system, I thought, I'm not quite a big fan of that, but then they showed it in action, and you know what? It was actually really fun, and I'm almost glad it's there because some of the stuff you can do with it looks really fun. So, I mean, it's going to be like 2D Metroids are classic. I never actually played Metroid 2, and I was going to at some point, but then someone said it's so confusing to actually work your way around the game that it sort of put me off. So being able to experience Metroid 2 in a more almost like remastered sense, because it's not exactly the same as Metroid 2. They're adding some power-ups that were never in Metroid 2 because they didn't even exist, like the Spider Ball and things like that. So
Well, the
there's gonna
Spider
be...
Ball was in it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
where it came from.
it must,
but yeah,
must
you're
have
right.
been one of the other ones.
They are adding stuff in, thing like the was it called the Aegis powers or something?
Yeah.
They're adding there now, and things like that are extra additions. But it's good that it's going to give people a chance to experience it in some way. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be a bit snobby and go, well, I completed the original version, blah 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 blah. But I can't wait for it, because it's, for me, Metroid 2 is it's an underappreciated gem that, like I said, I don't think it quite got the recognition it deserved. Carl, what about you, man? Oh.
I was just going to say one other thing, and the fact that Peds is going to be happy because the two composers that are working on Metroid 2 for 3DS are the composers that worked on Super Metroid, so the music sounds incredible.
Yes, it does.
That is really good.
Yeah, you could
the
hear
music in Super Metroid was how do you say excellent?
Excellent.
Exactly, is excellent. So that's only a good thing. No, I didn't know that because I missed the direct. See, because not the direct, the Lord of the Trio stuff, because I had to go out, and so I watched the direct late and missed the. So hearing some of this stuff is for me is the first time, so it's actually quite interesting. So I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you could hear some of the music earlier on. I mean, they had the Norfair theme from Super Metroid was there, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm glad to see that, and that's part of the reason why I'm excited for the special edition, because you get that soundtrack CD, which is a big deal for me because I love the music in Metroid. But yeah, sorry, Carl. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be picking it up probably. I'm not sure I have too much else to add after that discussion, but I think it's looking good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think for me, it'll probably be the last 3DS game I buy. I thought I'd already hit that point when I got Super Mario Maker, but nope. It turns out they had one more game for me. So yeah, I'm so excited for that. It's going to be brilliant.
Someone on the forum said it's going to be like a nice send-off for the 3DS. It's going to feel like a nice final game for the system, and yeah, I can get behind that, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And that was pretty much it. I think there were a couple other small things that they kind of showed off. I think there's a remake of one of the Mario and Luigi games that's coming to the 3DS.
I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
So
that's coming.
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions.
Yeah.
And the Bowser's Minions section is kind of like it's almost like a weird little RTS almost, so it looks pretty fun.
So they've got that as well, and I'm sure there are a couple other small things as well, but that's certainly the majority of the games they showed. So, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. So I just want to thank you guys for joining me this evening. So a big thank you to all you guys, and a big thank you to everybody who's had watched the video and had a listen. We wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Thanks to anyone who's put up with me through most of these, because I've been on nearly every one.
That's so me then. Yeah, thanks, Pets. But yeah, so I just want to say thanks everybody for taking part, thanks everybody for watching, and we will probably see you next E3. Say bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.